Welcome to the SIAC Sit Down. I am Sly Williams. They call me Sly the Sports Guy, and I am joined by the one and only Mr. Jamie Walker. Jamie, we got a special episode today.
We do have a special episode.
Special episode.
You know, I don't know how much more special we can get with this man in the building.
The Commish.
Yes.
Doc. So this is the SIAC Sit Down State of the Conference show.
I like it.
You like that?
I like it.
Clip that. That's the title. Clip.
Yes.
Dr. Holloman, the SIAC commissioner, is here with us today. How you doing, Doc?
Sly, man, I am amazing. We just had a great championship baseball contest last night with Edward Waters coming out on top. We started, I guess, 3 weeks ago with men's volleyball in Jacksonville. Then we came to Columbia for track and field. We had golf at the same time in Tunica, Mississippi. Then tennis here in Peachtree City. Then we finished up with softball in Columbus, Georgia, and baseball in Macon. So it's been a whirlwind. A lot of great competitions, and the student athletes put on a show.
They did. You know, you named kind of the worldwide tour that the conference went on for these championship
Yeah, it's
games.
frequent flyer miles must be something.
I'm telling you,
especially
man.
nowadays.
I like that. Now, y'all out there, y'all played at some really nice places, man.
So that's one of the things that when I took over as commissioner, that wanted to look at how we could. We have 7 different states, and so we wanted to diversify the places that we are playing our championships at, so we can take our product to those particular areas. And so we always find great facilities to partner with. We started with indoor track at Louisville, the Norton Healthcare and Sports Center.
Yes.
Phenomenal indoor track. It's owned by the Urban League. And then we finished up at the historic Luther Williams Field last night. And so when we look at, our championships, we want to make them special for the student athletes, and we want to get them in historic places. And so to know that Jackie Robinson played at Luther Williams Field is a special thing for our student athletes. The softball tournament was at the Olympic Stadium in Columbus. So, we're doing good.
See, I love that. I love that, some of the locations you went to. Jamie, I always say I'm a Columbia guy. I'm a Columbia guy, 100% sure. But when I heard that you were going to be at Fry at University of South Carolina at Fry track, named after Curtis Fry, superb, legendary
Olympic coach, and former South Carolina coach, and those facilities down there in Columbia. I heard you were going to be there. I'm like, man, that's big time. And then, you talked about Louisville, the indoor track, the indoor track facility, and it being black owned. Yeah. That's one thing that.
Yeah, that was huge.
That jumped off the page for me, and from everything I heard, man, that facility is awesome. It is a great facility. You can tell I'm not much of a track guy. I ran one time. That's because the ice cream man pulled off too fast. But that last time I ran. But yes, just having your championship games at these places. Now, one place me and Jamie particularly liked that we were there at the same time this year, the first time ever, you guys had the first basketball event at the Clayton County Convocation Center. Did I say that right?
Now the South Lake Arena. So they changed the name the day of the tournament kickoff.
Okay. Yeah. Well, you guys had it down there in Morrow, Georgia, and the facility, Jamie.
Yeah,
Loved
top notch. Even with the development still going on, it was still, you can see once they get that thing completely done, it's going to be the quote unquote Cadillac of state. I mean, for what it is right there in that area of South Lake, it is superb. Absolutely.
That came about. I was asked to give remarks at the Omega Last Chance football camp 2 years ago. And so I had a chance to interact and engage with the county commissioners and the people from Clayton County, and they told me they had something, coming up. And so those gentlemen, Dr. Aaron Jeter and Patrick Smith, came over to the tournament at Morehouse, and the next week they were calling me, hey, can you come down? And so I could see the vision, and so we looked at time frames for us to be there. And so I have to tell you, I was kind of worried because the progress was moving slow, but I was there the last month, kind of every day, just checking to see whether we were going to be able to play the tournament. And then they had a high school wrestling event there. Mm-hmm. And so I said, okay, we're going to hold out because, I had some other, backup locations, but I wanted to play our tournament there. And it was a magnificent facility that was still had some final touches to be put on, but we made the best of it. And probably the most significant piece was we were able to engage with the community. Yes. Clayton County brought 32 busloads of kids out for a game. And so that was, a great atmosphere. And we look forward to it being, phenomenal in the years moving forward.
I wanted to talk about that one right there, bringing out all those kids. Now, it's a 9:30 basketball game, 9:30, 11 o'clock game in the morning, girls game in the morning on was it Friday or Thursday?
This was Friday.
Friday. And let's just be honest, that's not going to be the one that sell all the tickets.
Right.
But you guys put all those kids in there. All those kids came from all the schools, and then the young ladies had on their cheerleading outfits, and that place was so loud. I'm talking about it was packed. The lower bowl was packed full of kids. They were loud, and it was Clark Atlanta versus Miles. They're going back and forth. The kids are just yelling. They yelling defense the whole time. They don't care who got the ball. Right. Kids making noise. And then the Clark Atlanta cheerleading coach, what she decided to do, she said, hey, we're in Atlanta. We got to figure out how to get these kids on our side. Yeah. So she got her cheerleaders to interact with the kids, and then the kids start cheering for Clark. And Miles, it felt like they were in a hostile environment, man. I thought that was the most awesome thing, having all those kids there. And I'm like, man, you got Clayton County here on Friday. Man, bring Fulton County on Thursday and DeKalb on Wednesday.
So what we're looking at is to add a college fair for the older kids. And so they would come on maybe Wednesday. Then you have your middle school on Thursday and your elementary on Friday. And, of course, I got a call from Atlanta Public Schools.
Oh, yeah.
And so they want to be involved, and I think it'll work out, tremendous for us. But more importantly, exposing, young people to our institutions, and so that they become fans. And so the administration at the Clayton County Schools, I want to commend them for being willing to bring those students, but also pay for those students.
Hey, there you go. Hey, ain't nothing wrong with that.
Which is awesome, because I think conceptually we have to grow the game.
Yes.
And in order to continue fans throughout generations, it starts there. Once they see those schools and see these events, it's easy to see. And I can tell you, I wasn't. I didn't get there live until the last day. Right. But seeing it on TV was amazing. It looked the part. It looked great. So I just got to commend everyone involved with it.
And then also, we give credit to the kids because the kids showed up and showed out.
They
but
did.
That championship game against Tuskegee versus Morehouse,
Yeah.
That was packed too.
Yes.
Morehouse fans and Tuskegee fans showed up.
One of the things that's interesting is that when you have Clark Atlanta, Morehouse, you can count on getting a crowd. And then, of course, Tuskegee always brings a crowd. And so it was exciting to see that matchup. And Coach Dixon in his first year, getting Morehouse across the finish line was an amazing story in itself. because they have been second fiddle to Clark Atlanta for the last couple of years. And Coach Jordan always does a good job, but he didn't have anything for Morehouse this year.
Right.
Not this year. You know, Jamie brought up something interesting. He was talking about that game and how it looked on TV. Now, kind of talk about the channel it was shown on. It was shown on the SIAC network. So this is, I guess, the complete calendar year number 1, I guess, for the whole season for the SIAC network. So can you kind of tell us about how you think year number 1 went?
Well, Sly, I think we finished on a high note. We had growing pains because you have 15 institutions trying to get their systems up and running, making sure they have all the necessary equipment and following the guidelines that we put in place. But by the end of the year, everyone was covering all of their sports. And, you know, for the championships, we broadcast indoor, outdoor, baseball, softball, volleyball. And if we were on a campus, that campus was responsible. And so, you know, we've seen growth, and it's important because now people know where to find the SIAC sports. And so we're looking at what other opportunities that are in front of us. And so we're exploring whether we are going to be able to create our own select games and have them on digital platforms. So that's something that's in the works. We're just trying to make everything make sense. And as soon as we feel comfortable, we're going to start off with probably a couple of games this year before we have a full lineup of games. And so with our partnership with ESPN, HBCU Go, we'll figure out, you know, what games will make the most sense for us to keep as SIAC games of the week.
Oh, okay, we like that.
You know, it sounds like maybe a SIAC, you know, pregame show. You know, something coming up.
You know, we right here. We throw that out there for you, Commish. We throw it out there.
I think you guys did a show from the tournament.
We did, man. We did. We got to go up into the big money suites.
You know, I mean, like we had money or something.
Yeah, we pretended for a little while.
You know,
we pretended for a little while.
It was nice. It was nice.
But the fans would. I speak for the fans, Commish. The fans would love to see a SIAC pregame show. They would love to see it, and they would love to see me and Jamie.
They would.
And that's only the fans. That's the fans.
That's the fans.
That's the fans say that. I don't have nothing to do with that.
Well, you know, I know you guys work for us and you cover games, and we are most appreciative of your talents and how you tell the story of the SIAC and our institutions, because that's the real growth for us. Is that every week you can see all of our teams, whether they're on a linear platform or not. And so that is something that I'm very proud of. You know, we still are growing.
Yes.
But, you know, you can see the growth and the progress. And so one of the things that we are intentional about is making sure that we have some continuity and consistency in the broadcast. And so when we watch and we see something that's out of place, then they hear from me. And they don't just hear from me. I send them a little fine to motivate them to ensure that they're compliant.
There you go.
Absolutely.
Now, another thing, you talked about the way that people can view you, One thing, one request, if I was the giant genie of all, I would love to see that app. How close along are they coming to that SIAC app?
So that's in the works. We are trying to ensure that we're using the most up-to-date and newest technology. And so we've had some starts and stops in that space. The team has changed a little bit, and so we have some people that I have extreme confidence in that they'll give me the best way to get that app going.
Okay.
I wanted to talk because you just talked about how the baseball tournament, softball tournament went well. I'm loving how the cross promotional things are coming about. One promotional unit that's already in place, the MBP and MSP, Minority Baseball Prospects, Minority Softball Prospects, Alice Weiss, Reginald Hollins, their Brain Trust. I love the way that was cross promoted because I think they are one of the preeminent organizations when it comes to promoting minority baseball and softball for that matter. Talk about how that came about.
So, Reggie is a Tuskegee guy. Matter of fact, I was the athletic director at Tuskegee when Reggie was a student.
Wow.
But, have known him for quite a while and have the utmost respect for the work he's doing and creating opportunities for young people. And so we talked about it last year, and so this year we were able to make it happen. And so I was so excited. We had 200 kids that came out for their clinic on Sunday morning. We had, activations, just all kinds of things to engage the fans of Macon and the SIAC baseball fans. And so one of the interesting stories from the tournament was a kid from Edward Waters. He pitched on Sunday, and he threw 8 shutout innings of 2-hit ball.
Wow.
And he learned to pitch in their league last summer.
Wow.
And so when you have stories like that, you know what they're doing is working, and it's the development that our young players need. And so we hope that we send a ton of players to play with them this summer so that they can develop into top-notch college baseball players and help their teams and develop as players.
I'm telling you, because I love what they do. I follow them on Instagram, and they have all the posts, and then you think about our culture, you think about our history for a long time. Black people, we played baseball, and it seems like past 20, 30 years, baseball is kind of falling off. But when you get groups like the Minority Baseball Report, when you get those guys together, and they start to, you feel that push coming back, and they're behind that push. Pokey Reese in South Carolina, he does a lot with the youngsters. I forget the brother in Charlotte. Another baseball brother who played baseball. But what they do, man, I'm glad that they're kind of pushing that baseball back, because we all started playing baseball.
Well, it's significant because my son was on the 2014 SIAC baseball champs at Stillman.
Wow.
And he was one of 2 black players on the team. Well, baseball has become a game that is repetition. So if you're playing travel ball, and travel ball is expensive, you're talking about a year-round commitment. And so organizations like Minority Prospects give a platform for kids to continue to play without being hamstrung by the financial commitments that come with playing travel ball. And so I'm surely encouraged that Morehouse, finished 3rd in the tournament. They were 2 on and nobody out in the 8th, down 63.
Yep.
And they couldn't, put it together. But Coach Grissom has a young team. He had at least 2 freshmen that pitched for him yesterday. And so I know those young people, learn valuable lessons in playing in meaningful baseball games. So I'm looking forward to what's going to happen with us, with our baseball team. And I expect Edward Waters to make some noise in the regionals. They're a team that plays really good defense. They have pitching depth. They have roles. Their players know their roles. They have a closer. So I expect good things from them.
I want to continue with the collaboration piece because I think when you're talking about conferences and the way you operate, especially HBCU conferences, the HBC4U organization with both the Division I HBCUs and the Division II HBCU conferences coming together. There has been some news that have come out in the last few months about, in particular, about the new poll that you all put together for football. And it's just a matter of collaboration. Are those the types of things that you all talk about when it comes to the things you can do, even with being different divisions?
So the amazing thing about having the chance to be the commissioner of the SIAC is I get to work with Sonia Stills, Charles McClellan, and Jackie McWilliams-Parker, the commissioners of the other HBCU conferences. And we understand that we have a responsibility to grow our member institutions, and we think that the best way to do it is being collaborative in the nature of how we go about our business. So we meet regularly. We'll have a retreat this summer, and they are basically strategy sessions where we talk about the things that are going on and how we take a bite out the apple one piece at a time. And so the poll was something that we had been working on for several years, understanding that we wanted to control the narrative on how our teams and our players are recognized. And I think we, with Dr. Cavill, we're going to have credibility, and I'm excited to see how it works. In addition, we collaborate on a number of projects that some you see and some maybe not yet. But, you know, those are leaders in the field, not just in the HBCU realm, but in the NCAA. Charles was the basketball chair. Jackie is the inaugural chair of a diversity committee for the NCAA. I'm chairing the men's volleyball committee at this particular time. And so we're not only leading in our space, but we're leading nationally.
Now, in addition with that collaboration, where do you see that going? Because even with me, and you know, social media is oftentimes good, and it can be what's called an echo chamber. Speaking of Dr. Cavill, is it a notion that HBCU conferences in particular need to insulate, being there's so many different changes going on within the dynamic of the NCAA?
So one of the things that we also do, and I think we've done well, is that we've been involved in the political process. And so we leverage our strengths, which is our relationships with our political delegations, because we believe that we control the narrative. If you look at the Power Four, set them aside. But if you look at every other conference, mid-major, D2, the SWAC is number one, the MEAC is number two in revenue for those schools. And the same with the SIAC and the CIAA. And so we have not only developed political clout, but we've developed financial clout. And so we position ourselves in a position where we understand that you're going to have institutions who are led by individuals who may have different visions. And so you've seen schools leave the MEAC and go to the SWAC. You've seen schools go to the CIAA from the SIAC. But the reality of it is we are connected. And so we have a level of respect for one another that we don't blindside each other.
Okay.
You know, if something is going to happen, it's going to happen. But the reality of it is, if I know, then I have a chance to prepare myself and find out what my next move is And so I think that's the one thing that I respect about them completely, is that, you know, we absolutely have a responsibility to our individual conferences, but we understand that we are not going to build ourselves by seeing somebody else fail. And so I think we've been good about that. And sometimes when schools make decisions, that's the best decision for the school. And so if that's the case, then, you know, you understand and you just continue to work and do the things that you need to do. Like I've heard rumors about member institutions in the SIAC. Well, the reality of it is I'm doing my due diligence to ensure that I can make a compelling case why it's better for them to stay in the SIAC. And so that's what you do. But we have 15 institutions. We'll lose Spring Hill. And, you know, the reality of it for us, they don't play football.
Right.
So that does not present a great challenge for us. You know, they were a strong member institution, but when they made their evaluation, they decided that it would be best for them to be someone else. And, you know, I respect that decision. And Joe Nyland, their athletic director, is an amazing leader. Matter of fact, he's going into the Mobile Sports Hall of Fame with Derek Burrows, who was Lane's AD, and Derek Coleman, who grew up in his youth in Mobile, and then a baseball player that played in the major league. So congratulations to Joe. But, you know, Spring Hill will play 26-27 before moving on.
Now that's interesting. You know, you talk about Spring Hill's departure now. So, and Jamie talked about that social media echo chamber and everything out there now. So when you have someone leave, now you have everybody else in the world wondering, okay, are we going to get somebody else added in? You know, with the Gulf South, we speak about football. You know, because we're mostly a football show, but you know, we talk about everything else also. But with the Gulf South kind of crumbling, I guess you can say, in football with only 3 teams left, you wonder, has there been any talks or anything about expansion of the SIAC?
So we're looking at strategic growth. If it doesn't make sense, we're not going to do it. And, you know, I don't know how, you know, people get my phone number, but I've been getting a lot of phone calls. And, you know, it's flattering, because I think we have a great product, but the reality of it, we're always going to do what's in the best interest of our member institutions. And so I don't think you'll see any significant growth especially in football for affiliate membership.
Okay. Now, we talked a little bit earlier about the 4 conferences, the Division I, the SWAC, the MEAC, and the CIAA and the SIAC, all the commissioners coming together and meeting up and having discussions. But now, on the Division II level, is there any talks in the future or next year about specific collaborations between the SIAC and the CIAA? Because I know with basketball they had the Chris, was it Chris Paul, I think?
Yes.
It was Chris Paul. They had the Chris Paul Classic where they had the CIAA and the SIAC teams playing, and football every year, the Hall of Fame game.
Yep.
They'll play the past champions, last year's champions will usually play. But are there any kind of cross collaborations that they have coming up or anything new?
We're looking at trying to figure out whether we can make a champ game. You know, we know that to entice our member institutions, we have to be able to make it financially rewarding.
Oh yeah.
And so we're working to put those kinds of things together. But one of the things that is great about our partnership with the CIAA is that we're very intentional and we make deals and decisions based on what it means for us. And so we worked with the Pro Football Hall of Fame, and we initially had games with teams that had availability on their schedule, but we wanted to be more intentional. So we went to a format where our champions play each other. So if you won the championship, then whatever game you had, someone else will have to play there because you're obligated to play in this game. And it's been an amazing experience working with the Hall of Fame because when the young people get to visit the Pro Football Hall of Fame and the Black College Hall of Fame that's there. They have a dinner where all of the Hall of Famers come and sit at tables with the individual players. They have a gospel concert. So it's just Mel Blount preached there a couple of years ago. So it's just a really good experience. And the schools are financially rewarded for playing in those games. And so, we'll look at whether we are playing each other in a Week 11 game because we know that this year what we did strategically helped the SIAC.
Absolutely.
And so I know the CIAA this year is looking at potentially playing their third and fourth place teams against each other at the same venue. And so while we are not in the region with each other, then, we'll look at it because things seem to flip-flop when it's advantageous for other conferences.
Oh yeah. And I do think that was a great idea, a great thing because that's what put Kentucky State in the playoffs.
No doubt. And when I made that decision in December of 23, I was looking at how we can make the system work for us. And when we agreed to the deal with Conference Carolinas, you didn't know who would be impacted, but I know in 23, it was Savannah State, 24, it was Fort Valley. Had they had another game, they would have been in a position to get in the playoffs. And so in the middle of the season, Kentucky State was outperforming, the forecast. And so I started talking to their AD. You might have to figure out how to get out your game because you will probably finish in the top 3. And so that means you're going to have a game.
That's right.
And, when we got down to the end of the season, everybody kept winning.
They did.
And so Kentucky State might have been playing the best, but they were in third place. And so, of course, there was a lot of back and forth about Delta State. But the reality of it, my obligation was to the SIAC. And so, we sent Kentucky State. They hosted the game. So, they won that game. And, Sly and I were at the game in Newberry. And, they kind of got punched in the mouth before they, got back in the game. And so, we looking for big things from Coach Huggins and his team. He does a tremendous job with that program. And, he got that taste now. So I think they're going to be tough.
And one thing, I love the idea and the concept of playing those games because I think they get you ready. It might not work this year, but it'll get you ready for a playoff game the next year because you've been beating up on the SIAC team's been beating up on each other for 100 years. So you know what Fort Valley gonna do. You know what Albany State. You've been playing each other for 100 years. But for you to go and step outside of your conference a little bit and see something a little bit different, you know, get a taste of that. I love it.
Well, it's important because the reality of it is you got to know what you got to do so that you can prepare your team. Because I think Coach Huggins learned a little bit of the playoff intensity and the physicality of the game and those kinds of things. And so I think he'll be better prepared. You know, Coach Dickerson with Benedict in the Winkett game, he had that play because surely they had worked on it prior to.
Yes.
And who knew that was going to be the difference? But the reality of it, that's playoff football. You got to be prepared to do whatever it takes to win a game or put yourself in a position to win a game. And so they did it, and you know, Coach Gray did a remarkable job with Albany State because I think when the seedings came out, there was you know, kind of a hush because people said, "Oh, Valdosta's coming, Valdosta's coming." Well, the reality of it, Albany State was better.
Yes.
And they proved it, and then they, you know, played Benedict, which is hard to play a team 3 times in 4 weeks.
It is.
And so they got out of that game, and you know, I feel like if their quarterback wasn't injured, they would have beat Newberry. And they still gave themselves a chance to win. But one of the things in the Newberry game, that block kick changed the momentum.
Yes, it did.
But that's the reality of it. If you had been in that situation before, maybe you understand that it's not worth trying the long field goal where you're going to kick it low and set yourself up for a play like that. You can try to throw it in the end zone and go in the lead, halftime with the lead, either way. But those are the kinds of things that you learn from experience. And so we got to continue to get there. And, you know, I'm excited to see what the 26th football season has to offer.
Even with that game, you talked about the kind of the preeminent games, but even the Allen versus Erskine game, I think propels Allen going into this season as well. They got a good taste in their mouth going into the next season by defeating Erskine, even though Erskine was struggling. I think when you can end the season on a high note like that, I think it's a good thing. So I think that collaboration with Carolina's conference was brilliant in that way.
Well, you know, one of the things, you can't, you know, simulate games. So when you play games, that, you know, gives you an opportunity to do the things that you worked on. And so Allen mauled Erskine.
They did.
And the thing about that was that's the game that Coach Pearl was looking for. And they played it, you know, when it mattered. And so, you know, we're excited that we are, you know, put our teams in that position. And now this year we'll travel to Conference Carolinas for those games. And so I'm looking forward to that. You know, it's just exciting to, you know, finish up a successful year and then know that, you know, there's a brief pause, but we'll be at it again. So looking forward to it.
Now, we talked about a lot of the events and everything that happened this year all throughout the conference. What's on the horizon? What do we have coming up?
So, Slide, Jamie, flag football.
That's what I wanted to hear.
The SIAC will play flag football in 26-27. I think now we have 10 teams committed. So we're excited about that, a 12-game season with a conference championship.
Okay.
And so, you know, the state of Georgia in particular has 6,000 plus girls playing flag football. And so it's going to be awesome for our institutions to offer this sport for young ladies that have interests. I think you'll see that we will be competing against the CIAA. I think the MEAC has 1 or 2 schools and the SWAC has 1 or 2. But, you know, we're all in, and so we're excited for flag football.
Now let me ask you a question about flag football. For the ones that don't know, you know, we're based in Georgia. Me and Jamie,
Yes.
we're all based in Georgia. So we've been seeing flag football now for about 5-6 years. I think they've been doing it. And so, and those games are exciting. Yeah. Those young ladies are exciting. It's fast paced. They move in, and it's really good. So when will it take place? Will it be a fall sport?
It'll be a spring sport.
It'll be a spring sport. So we'll have it in the spring. Yeah. It'll go up against the other spring sports. And you say we'll have a championship game. Does the NCAA have is there a potential for a national champion?
So
how does that work?
It's an emerging sport, so they're still building it out. But that's coming.
Okay.
That's coming. And I think one of the things that's going to drive it is you have flag football in the Olympics in 28,
yes.
But the NFL will also sponsor a flag football league for men and women.
Okay.
And the salary is $200,000 per player.
Oh, wow. Come out of retirement, Doc. I'm going to get back in the gym. Get ready. Yes. Get back out there, Doc.
But Sly, you mentioned something that's very significant. Us being here in Georgia, and I think the Arthur M. Blank Foundation and the SIAC have already worked together on some things anyway. And he is one of the backers of high school flag football in the state.
Yes.
Financing, you know, several schools I'm involved with, high school wise, have been recipients of grants from them to start up their programs. So, flag football is emerging, and it is just the natural progression of being in the SIAC. So I'm glad to see it.
And you know, we talk about, you know, the SIAC and flag football. A little bit of trivia. One of the SIAC greats, Tyrone Poole.
Yes.
He's actually the flag football coach at Alabama State.
Yep.
So, you know, so we got a little bit of connection right there with the flag football. So that's a sport that I'm really interested in seeing played on the collegiate level. And then it kind of helps out also. You know, everything comes down to finances sometimes.
Yeah.
So if you have a young lady, she's going to school, she may be a track athlete, and she could be getting a partial scholarship from track. She get a partial scholarship from flag football. Now mom and daddy don't have to come out the pocket at all. You know, once everything gets up and working and everything gets to rocking, man, that is fabulous for the young ladies out there.
Well, no, it is one of the responsibilities of the SIAC to sponsor sports that there's a demand for.
Mm-hmm.
Well, as we're rolling along, I got to go ahead and ask this question because we're getting prepared. I know you're about to have some downtime and all of those sorts of things. Media Day, venue and date. Do you have one set yet?
Media Day, July 22nd. We're going to be back in Macon. So one of the things with Media Day, I wanted to have my Hall of Fame ceremony. And we looked at bringing it back to Atlanta and combining those events. But this year is going to be a special year for the Hall of Fame. And so the Hall of Fame is I'm going to make the announcement of the honorees at Football Media Day. But then we're going to promote it like crazy, and we're going to have it during the basketball tournament.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
And so
all right.
We want to take advantage of our partnership with Clayton County and that, you know, magnificent facility. And so then the honorees will get recognized during the basketball tournament as well. But we want to make it special. We have a great group that we're going to honor. And so, you know, extremely excited about that. Football Media Day, you know, we are working on the predicted order of finished videos now. And so there's a lot of back and forth going on amongst the SIAC staff. You know, last year, you know, we got it right. But the reality of it is we have no idea. And so, you know, you got to play the games.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, you can't count on injury or those kinds of things or unforeseen things. So it's going to be a great season for the SIAC. We have lots of returning talent. So we're just excited for it. So I'm going to Jamie and Sly. I go to LA Thursday for the men's volleyball Final Four. And so I'm going to finish all of my obligations, and then I'm going to focus on football.
Okay.
You know, you mentioned LA, and I hate the fact that I don't have these guys' name. I don't know the people name who actually put this on, but somewhere out in California, past month, they had an HBCU camp or invitational.
Dr. Teresa Price.
Dr. Teresa Price, and I'm so blaming on the head, not the heart. I really want to congratulate what she did and what that whole organization did by bringing all the HBCUs out to the West Coast. So now you have those kids in California, West Coast, Seattle, whatever. They get a chance to experience and perform in front of some of these HBCU coaches and might go and steal a little bit of talent out of California.
So Dr. Price has been doing this for several years, and the significant thing is she underwrites the travel for all the coaches to get out there.
Wow.
So, you know, all you have to go out there and, you know, be able to sell your institution. I think we had 9 SIAC institutions participate. And so I think they did well. I think Tuskegee signed 2 players out there. I know women's basketball did.
Wow.
So, you know, we commend her for creating those opportunities because they don't have the exposure to HBCUs. And so when she gives those students a platform and our institutions are there and students come with their transcripts and their film and everything, and then you evaluate them, and, you know, we're making offers on the spot.
See, I love that. I love that because you see it down here. You know, Caleb Abumba, they'll put on a thing down at Charles Drew High School.
Yeah.
They'll do that every year, the HBCU Combine. But to go out to California, for her to do that in California, and those kids don't see HBCU. They don't know, you know, great, you know, maybe a few, you know, due to Great Migration, a few know Louisiana and Texas. You have some of those roots there, but you don't have those SIAC roots out in California. So now you get a chance for these coaches to go out there, you know, along with the CIAA coaches and everybody. They get to go out there, and I think that's huge, man. I love it.
And, you know, Dr. Price, you know, uses all of her resources. So Da Vinci, the actor, he's a great partner to her.
Okay.
And we actually had Da Vinci at Morehouse's homecoming this year as my guest because of Dr. Price.
Oh, okay. From BMF.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, man. See, I love it. I love it, man. And me and Jamie, I don't know if I speak for Jamie, but we just love the fact when we can see some of these kids get a chance to come in and experience that, go to HBC, you get that feeling. You know, you can't get that feeling from TV. I want you to come on over here and get it. I want you to feel some of it, man.
No, absolutely. And, you know, this is amazing, the platform you guys have. And as storytellers, we're thankful because it's important for people to understand, you know, the struggle is real, but the reward is great.
So now we talked about the season. We talked about some upcoming things. We ain't going to put you on the spot with predictions. It's still early. So we ain't going to put you on the spot with predictions. But we're going to put you on the spot 1 second before we get out of here. Why, if I'm a 17-year-old kid, if I'm 17, 18-year-old kid, why do I need to come to one of the SIAC institutions to further my education?
It's simple, Sly. We're going to prepare you for life after college. And we're going to do that by giving you a great academic experience, but we're going to love on you. We're going to demand that you are excellent, And when you get a chance to play athletics, you're going to play on the biggest stages. If you're a football player, you're going to play in classics all over the country. If you're a basketball, you're going to get a chance to play at Division I schools. You're going to get a chance to play in Chris Paul Classic, things like that. And if you are a track athlete, you're going to compete against the best and the brightest. And so baseball, we're looking at partnerships to have games with the Braves. This past week, Alabama A&M played at Wrigley Field. And so we're looking at those kinds of partnerships. But I think the real thing that the SIAC provides is we understand life in the balance at the Division II level. And so we promote academics, student preparedness. We're going to help you identify internships and co-ops. I have 2 students now attending the NCAA Black Student Athlete Summit in Eugene, Oregon. We have 4 kids from the SIAC that are doing year-round co-ops with the NFL. We're partnering with the NBA. So SIAC is where it's at.
There you go. There you go.
Like the commercial says, what is leaders rise here.
Leaders rise here.
Absolutely.
Leaders rise here. Jamie, you got anything to say for me?
I'm good. I just appreciate the opportunity to talk to you because you're so insightful and so just knowledgeable, not just about your own conference, but just about athletics in general. So I'm just always appreciative that you give us your time.
I just thank you all. This is always fun to come and talk to you because some of the questions you ask gives me something to think about.
Well, we're glad to have you here on the SIAC Sit Down. He's Jamie Walker.
I am.
I'm Sly Williams.
He is.
That is the commissioner, Dr. Holloman, the commissioner of the SIAC. And this is the SIAC Sit Down here on HBCU Game Day.